Bonjour tout le monde, c'est Hugo pour Haute Fidélité. Vous êtes ici sur un voyage en haute fidélité chez JBL en Californie. On est juste au cœur de Los Angeles, là où tout se passe. Pourquoi est-ce qu'on est ici? On a déjà fait une vidéo au mois de janvier parlant des 80 ans de la marque. Cette fois-ci, on a une vidéo qui va s'appeler Summit. Et cette fois-ci, sûrement, vous allez voir des produits que vous attendiez sur la marque. Qu'est-ce qui se passe? On est dans la chambre, une des 7 chambres sourdes de chez JBL, puisqu'on a eu la chance d'aller dans le laboratoire JBL pour découvrir les tout nouveaux produits qui sont annoncés cette année, la suite des produits annoncés en 2025, les nouvelles éditions des très fameuses K2 et Everest. Suivez-nous pour ce voyage en haute fidélité. Ok, on est de retour ici dans le musée JBL qu'on retrouve ici en Californie. Pourquoi on retourne ici dans le musée? Parce qu'on a fait déjà au mois de janvier une première introduction de tout l'anniversaire JBL pour les 80 ans. Et cette fois-ci, en 2026, plusieurs choses vont arriver dans la gamme Summit, qui est la gamme peut-être pour ces dernières années la plus connue qu'on retrouve chez JBL. Je vais donc me retourner vers Jim qui pilote le projet Summit pour qu'on parle maintenant des choses qui vont être annoncées très bientôt. Jim, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
I just let it know the people that we are in December now.
Yep.
We are ahead of what's going to happen in the
Yeah.
next few months.
Yes.
But you gave us the opportunity to have a sneak peek on what's coming up in 2026. So we're doing the video now. Things might change in the months to come, but we are here and we're starting here in the museum that will go around the world. The museum we talked about in the video in January. But why are we stopping there for a video that is called Summit?
Yeah. Well, we are standing in front of some of the products that will be part of that 80-year anniversary roadshow, and also the signs that are on the wall behind us.
That would be looking better, probably.
Yeah, that was really just to get everything in line for what we were going to do. But we are standing here relatively behind several of the former Summit Series speakers, if you will, some of the highest products that we've ever done. Starting with the Everest, the original Everest here. This is the DD55,000, yes. So this is a product that was developed in 1985, primarily for the Japanese marketplace, but this is the first Everest, again, the DD55,000.
As we said in the first video, this one is pretty hard to find in Europe because done for Japanese.
Correct.
So me, I only saw it on pictures and in magazines and so on. Never saw it for real, so it's my first time to actually see a real Everest.
Yes.
So that's one here.
Yep. Yeah, and you get a feel for the scale of it. They were mirror imaged pairs, so we just have the one that's sitting here, but you can see the asymmetry of the horn that's in it. It is a 15-inch three-way design, high frequency to drivers here and in the side, and then the 15-inch woofer located below. But this is really where it began with the what people know as the Everest.
The Everest.
This was the very first one, yes.
The first Everest, which is now a Summit, obviously, as you know. And if you don't remember, we're going to show a bit what Paragon is. But Paragon was a speaker that stopped in '83. This one's coming out in '85, you said?
85, yep.
So that was a project, right? That's the huge project. So that's kind of the product that replaced the Paragon one way or the other in terms of really high-end product.
In terms of the project series, yes, it was the next one in the range.
Exactly, so that's when it came out just after that to make another statement for the JBL brand.
Yes, yeah. So we started with the Hartsfield, we went to the Paragon. Everest was the third project series at that point in time.
And this is not over because after Everest, you kept
Everest came K2.
K2.
So now this is a third generation K2 that we're standing from here, but the original one was a little different in its design, using kind of a Diapolito configuration. It's well known because it had the concrete base that a lot of people would see, and there's several photos that are still out on the internet that you can find of that. So that was known as the K2 S9500, and then there were several other variants of that. You could do one without the upper woofer. We had some in different cabinet configurations. So
and that K2 can be found in Europe a lot more because we saw that. I found that some have been sold a lot in Europe because K2 was something, as you can see, this is the third version, but something you can actually fit in people's home, which was a little bit harder for Everest, even though
Yes.
in Japan, you cannot say in Tokyo you have a lot of space, but they can reserve a lot of the space
Yeah.
for speakers, which is less the case
They're
in France.
willing to sacrifice a lot
Willing.
more space for a
Exactly.
great hi-fi speaker. Yes.
Exactly, which is not
Yeah.
the case in Europe and even more in France.
Yep.
So this is K2,
Yep.
Kilimanjaro, right?
Yep. So this is basically now the fourth project speaker at that point in time. So Hartsfield, Paragon, Everest, K2 then became our fourth project series.
And that being there for a pretty long time, as we said, maybe must be
Yep.
here, which is crazy because you kept improving on it.
Yes.
Because after Everest, the first edition you can see here, I think we can move to another Everest.
Yes. This is a
That's-
second generation Everest, developed much later from where that one was. And you can see a pretty significant shift in the design of what we've done. And by the time, of course, this being a third generation K2, you can see the two similarities that we had in here.
Yep.
Done by Dan Ashcraft, the same industrial designer that had worked on this series and this generation of the products. So a lot of things that had then happened, you can see from this particular Everest has now gone to similar in terms of width, but we've gone to two 15-inch drivers in this one now.
Because one was not enough.
Because one was not enough. We had one, two must be better.
Of course.
So we had two 15-inch drivers in here, and then this is a large format beryllium dome compression driver. This is a 4-inch, 100 millimeter dome style compression driver that's here, and then a 75 mil basically, or 3/4 inch, so a 19 mil UHF driver that we had to supplement this because this driver could not get up to the ultimate high frequencies that we would have.
This is
So
the
we
really
had
high frequency.
yes, exactly.
Like
Yep.
sometimes calling a super tweeter.
It could be, yes, in that
Sometimes,
respect. Yep.
yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So that leads us to what happened before, the different projects, and
Yep.
what happened in 2025. I saw you in Munich.
Yes.
You were teasing us about something called Summit series.
Yep.
And I arrived as all the journalists saying, okay, come on, where are the new K2s and the new Everest? Which was not the case.
And then we did not show them to
No.
you. Right. Exactly.
But you arrived with a new project, right?
Yes.
Which concludes that Summit series from the first Everest in the 90s, which is almost as old as I am, so 40 years ago. With that baby here, one
Yep.
of the babies here.
Yep.
Can you tell me a little bit more about those ones? before
Yeah,
we see the
so
rest?
all of these more recent project series, JBL has always used mountain names as program code names during development periods before they may eventually get whatever name that they had. And in the case of these, that technically the model number is DD 55,000.
That no one knows.
No one knows
No
the
one
model
really knows
number.
that. Everybody's
It's an
talking
Everest,
about
right? And the same
Everest
thing
and-
here. This is DD 67, or in this case, the second gen, DD 66,000. But no one knows that model, and they're like,
Nope.
well, this is the Everest.
This is the Everest.
So, which was just its, code name during development. So, because that, the reason Everest was chosen for this one, because it was the highest mountain peak in the world. And we said this was intended in its original development to be the best JBL loudspeaker that had
best
ever been
one.
created.
Exactly.
So therefore, we'll give it the highest mountain peak. Then as the K2 came out, the second highest peak in the world, right?
The marketing easy.
But even at that time, the original version of this really outperformed the Everest because every project series, as we've gone along the lines, is designed to be the best possible loudspeaker that can be created at that point in time. So because the K2 came after the Everest, we had learned things to make a better speaker.
Obviously.
So then we'll go back and redo the Everest again. So we decided then, as we were originally looking to, okay, what's going to be the next generation of these, maintain those mountain names and really create this as the Summit series, with the idea of Summit being you've now scaled to the highest possible summit of sound quality. And that kind of built off of the theme of the mountain names that we had given for every loudspeaker in the range. So as we were starting to really work on this, it's a project that's been in development for almost 6 years now.
6 years, that's a long time.
It is a long time, right? Yes. And so we had decided that as we were pushing performance even higher to higher peaks, a higher summit, that it allowed us the ability to expand the range and create some smaller models with it. So as we were announcing,
With the same idea to be the best in category.
to be
every
the
time.
best in their particular categories.
That's the idea.
So while these are still very large format loudspeakers and based off 15-inch woofers, we had the opportunity to then create the best of smaller size woofers and really expand the Summit series down to some new price points and some new form factors for people that may really love these speakers, but they're just simply too expensive or too large to go into their room.
To fit in the living room.
Yep. So at the high-end show in Munich last year, then
2025 then?
2025 is when we did this teaser. The new Summit series is coming. I think a lot of people were thinking and expecting to see replacements for these two because they've been in the market for a while. What we showed them then were 3 new smaller models.
3 products.
Yes.
Not 1 or 2, but 3 products.
But 3, yes. So we introduced Summit Ama, Summit Pumori, and Summit Makalu as 3 new models, part of the Summit series.
That have been tested. I don't know yet now, but we are testing them in the magazine in the months to come. So probably you'll have read the test in the magazine, hopefully, before the releasing of that video, at least 1 or 2 out of the 3. Maybe the 3, we'll see. But those products obviously are already on the market and you can listen to them and watch them and go to the stores and shows. There were some of them at the Haute Fidélité shows in Paris in 2025. Yep. They were there, JBL were there, that's also why I'm here, because they were demonstrating those particular products. So we know them a little bit more. And that's what drives us for the rest of that video.
Yep.
Is you have opened the doors of the laboratory where we can actually go and shoot. So thank you again for that.
Yep.
Because we're going to see some stuff that haven't been announced to anyone yet.
Correct.
Which is going to happen just over there.
Yep.
Let's go.
Exactly. Let's go have a look.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Come on. So Jim, we're out of the museum. Now we are in one of the listening room of the lab.
Yep.
And next to us is one of the products you are announcing in 2026.
Yes.
Which is?
This is the Summit K2.
Summit K2. Finally, the replacement of the K2. So how many edition it is of the K2 now?
This would be the fourth
edition.
Yes, of the largest version of the K2. If we ignore some of the smaller ones.
Some of the special one.
Yep.
So what is special about that? What is the difference between what you have announced in 2025 and what took you the time? We said 6 years to work on the project series.
Yeah.
That makes a difference between an old K2, the product, by any chance, and those babies.
There's a lot that's been changed in this loudspeaker. So the last several variants of K2, when you went from 9500, the original, the 9800, the 9900, which was the one we were standing behind in the museum back there, the next generation here is a completely new speaker, if you will. So
brand new.
Everything.
Nothing has been kept from the old one.
Correct.
Okay.
So the industrial design, of course, now follows what we've introduced with the 3 smaller Summit series speakers. The Makalu was the largest that we introduced in 2025. Now in 2026, these next 2 models further up in the line, there's a bit of a difference in terms of the technology that we've scaled everything up considerably from even was the largest one with the Summit Makalu. So you can see here as we look at the speaker, we've maintained the 3-way design in this particular one, where the Summit Ama was our best 8-inch stand mount, the Pumori the best 10-inch, the Makalu the best 12-inch. We've now gone into the 15-inch category, which
of course,
is where...
because obviously that's what you're waiting for JBL is obviously 15-inch is the minimum to make something happen, obviously. So now you got the 15-inch for the base here, and which is funny sometimes when you compare to the size of the others. Here, the medium, if you can say so, is also a pretty decent size.
Yes, so we've gone to a true 3-way in this case, so there's no ultra-high frequency driver. Nope. It's not required in these, but what we have done is really optimize the 15-inch for true deep bass response. And to do so, we've introduced now a 10-inch mid-bass driver. So the 3 smaller ones use an 8-inch.
10-inch for the medium, which is already pretty big.
Yes, yes. So now we've got that very potent bottom end of the speaker, and the high frequencies.
You are giving time for the 15-inch to work only on the low bass.
Yes.
Since you have a medium, if you say so, that can go pretty low, obviously.
Correct. Yes.
Which is a big difference by other speakers that sometimes you can find that.
Right, and so that's probably one of the biggest differences that you would see between the previous generation K2 is this idea of more of a true 3-way design, but really getting the 15 to dig down into the depths. This speaker plays
and we had
very,
a chance to listen to this. That's for real. We had a chance to listen to do 4 babies because the last one is not finished yet. but we'll listen to the 4 of them. One of my first impressions was the smallest version, the bookshelf, if we say so, was impressive in terms of base for the size it is. Obviously, when you're finishing so far on K2, that's something different again. That's another world. So you are reaching for something that is beyond what has been done so far.
Correct.
If you compare that to the previous K2 and you compare it as well to the Everest from before, where do you put it on the map?
This is a huge leap in performance over the current K2. And if we're just talking on the low end of it, this is playing another 20 hertz at least lower than what we had with the previous version of it. So this speaker, of course, at the time we're recording this now, some of the specs are not completely finalized yet, but low end.
We can see the board over there on the side, and I'll have some detail. The boards are outside the speaker, so we can see what's going on. But yes, that's why it's still in tweak. Obviously, it's not 100% finished.
No, what you were able to listen to here is 90% probably of what it'll finally be. There will still be some, final little changes and polishes that we'll do to the sound of it as we get it in there. And these are very early cabinet samples. We've made a couple of changes to these. They're not quite cosmetically right, but it's, like I say, about 90% correct of what it'll be. Yep.
And the video here is going to be released hopefully in May or June. Those products should hit the market at what time? This one, the K2.
So these will be going into production a little bit before the high-end show that's in Vienna this year. So our expectation is that these in the European market would be showing up to dealers around that June-July timeframe.
And maybe if the schedule is all right, maybe we as journalists can listen to it in the same time. So maybe if everything is okay, I don't know yet the schedule so far ahead, but the idea would to have a review in the magazine for the after the show, which means this is the one that's coming out in October probably. So we'll check it out. We'll let you know. And September, that would be really nice to actually have a review of one of the 2 babies that are here. Because that's the K2, that's the crazy baby. But there's something crazier that we haven't heard yet. But once more, it's just outside in the lab. Can we check it out?
Yes.
Absolutely. Let's go, Jim. That's amazing because right here we are in the middle of the lab. You presented it. All the guys are working here for pretty much a long time. Some of them like 40 plus years. Which is amazing. We have seen some guys which are amazing. So the team here is really great. So thank you again for having us in the lab to actually see the products. Right now, standing next to us, as tall as we are, is because you went pretty far. Is the last one. Hopefully the last one, maybe something more will come up, but obviously there's nothing higher than the Everest.
Everest is the world's highest peak.
Then you got to check out maybe the moon or something like that, but obviously staying on Earth, that'd be the biggest. And then, the deepest as well, so that exists, Marianne maybe. But the biggest one of the range so far, which is the Everest. Can you tell me a bit about those beasts, because we're talking about beasts, even though we haven't listened to it, because as I said, K2 will listen to K2, but not on those ones. Can you introduce quickly Project Everest, the last one?
Yes. So this is the 5th and final model of the Summit Series range. As its name implies, the Summit Everest is the highest peak, so it is the largest and most capable, not only of the Summit Series, but this has really been the biggest, best, most expensive loudspeaker JBL has ever created.
We haven't talked about pricing yet, obviously, because we are so far ahead of everything. I haven't talked about pricing. If I have pricing in the video, that will be shown. If not, well, obviously we have to wait for Vienna to happen to actually have real prices. But obviously this one, they gave us some ideas that might be expensive.
It's going to be expensive.
It's going to be expensive for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So as the largest one, to have these in 2026 coming out, that's the 80-year anniversary of the JBL brand. So we thought it was the best time to really bring out the best loudspeaker. As you saw from the new K2 in here, a lot of new technology has gone into these. Same thing with the Summit Everest. So there's a lot of development that we put into these speakers that we have been able to patent. And so there's a lot of invention that had to be done in order to achieve this level of acoustic performance. You can see here, of course, this one being the largest one. As we've maintained with the current Everest, we are sticking with the dual 15-inch drivers. In this case now supplemented by the dual 10-inch mid-bass drivers that are located above it. So in some respect, you could say that this is two K2s in one
box.
In one
big box.
Yes,
With a bigger horn.
Yes, with a much bigger horn and more capable high frequency section as well.
So two 15s because obviously, as we said, you got the 8, the 10, the 12,
Yep.
15, and two 15s because
That is
why
the
not?
biggest.
That's
Yes.
where you can go.
Yep.
No 18, but two 15s.
Yeah.
You were okay to show us a couple of things that you brought into that product.
Yeah.
Can we talk about just maybe one or two of them that you want to highlight?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go. Can we pick it up?
Yep.
Let's go. So you made me hold that little piece of engineering.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about that small speaker?
Yeah, so everything about these loudspeakers was engineered from the ground up. So there's no carryovers to anything prior. We've developed a completely new technology. This is the 15-inch driver that is used in both the K2 and the Everest. There's a lot of patented JBL technologies in here in terms of our motor structure. This is our differential drive motors. This is a quite capable driver using our HC4 cone material in it, neodymium motor structure, dual voice coil setup on it, large voice coil. It's a quite capable low frequency driver, and again optimized to really be dedicated to bass response because it's not going up to meet the horn like we had done in some of the older models. That responsibility is now done with our mid-bass driver.
Mid-bass.
So this is a 10-inch one in this case, also with our dual voice coil motor structure, neodymium motors in it. We've developed every aspect of these. These frames were developed right here in this building. Every aspect of these drivers done here in this particular lab. So now that 15-inch transitions up to these. In the case with the Everest, you have two of them. You do have a configuration panel on the front that selects which one of these goes up to meet the horn. So that's a cool thing about it. And then that takes us to the high frequencies.
Because you're missing a part.
Yes.
We're missing the part of the
Yes.
story.
So we have traditionally used our dual diaphragm drivers in these products, and this is an example of it. So this is a dual 2-inch compression driver. So there are two diaphragms, two voice coils, two motor structures. They are firing face to face into a common phase plug and out the exit. So this is the technology that's used in all of the Summit models, all the way from the Summit Ama up, and they scale in size. We start with much smaller versions, dual 1.5s, and work our way up to the dual 3s that are used in the Makalu. When we got to these larger models, in order to have greater high frequency extension, not necessarily greater output, but greater high frequency extension, we have patented a new triple compression driver manifold.
Triple.
Yes.
So that's already a double there?
This is a double, so when you put 3 of them on, you now have 6 compression drivers functioning as a single device. So these are a couple of the different manifolds. This is actually a 3D printed version, prototype version of the manifold that is used in the Everest, which this is the driver. So as you look at that here, this would be bolted to it. So you would literally have
Go closer to the camera.
3 of them here, yes, as we come in. And then these are firing out a common exit, basically 3 little hornlets to come out, and you can see that down in the throat of the horn there as well.
In the details, you can see it inside, yeah.
Yeah, and then in addition to what we've done with these, I should point out here, this is the smaller version that's used in the K2.
The K2 one, yep.
This is 3D printed aluminum.
Yep.
So as we were developing this,
that's
there
a
was
premiere as well.
no
That's
way
premiere,
to tool it, you know?
No.
So we had to
It's too complicated.
basically grow this out of aluminum. So that's in production there, 3D printed aluminum to build this very, very intricate component of the loudspeaker.
That's crazy. And you can see the size and dedication of the IDs coming from that lab.
Yep.
And that'll explain also a little bit why it takes so long to make a product like that.
Yes, it does take a long time. There's a couple of years worth of development just in achieving this manifold.
Yeah, to make it happen.
It's never been done before, so it was a little invention.
Now the question is, will it sound okay? Obviously, we listened to the K2. It was amazing. Now we're going to wait to listen to Everest in the next few months and to hear about more. We cannot say everything we learned during that trip here because we learned a lot. You talked about how those babies can work together, and at some point that you can tame a little bit one of the mediums so that doesn't be an issue. But the full mediums, that can be an issue sometimes, and which one goes with the horn and so on. So there's a lot of technology beyond that. But obviously, We're going to review that more in detail. Hopefully, maybe a video dedicated on the product. If you say so, put it in the comments. Maybe if you want that we talk mostly about Everest. If not, we're going to listen to it. What else do you want to say about Everest? That was maybe the hardest part to achieve when you want to go that high in your range. What was the step that made you rethink the project? Oh man, we're going too far maybe.
I think this was probably the most complex part of what we wanted to achieve, was to take this patented compression driver technology that we already had, but really use it in a different manner. And as we said, this has never been done before, to use 3 drivers functioning as one together, let alone the fact that they're all dual drivers on their own. So you have 6 voice coils, 6 diaphragms functioning as one tweeter. But the benefit that it gave us, when we go back to what we saw in the museum out there, those ultra high frequency drivers are no longer necessary, because now we can achieve high frequency extension out to 25K or so, which traditional compression drivers just can't do. Most of them can give up the ghost at 10 or 12K, so you require another driver to live above it. So with this, we were able to do that. And then of course, just the nature of these drivers, ultra low distortion, huge amounts of dynamic headroom, and now we have very high extension on the high frequencies for it. So that part of it was definitely a challenge to create. And then of course, you've seen from the other drivers in it, we had to have commensurate quality and capability from these drivers to keep up with what we were doing on the high end, and then build a foundation for these all to live in with the cabinet and the crossover network to make it optimal performance when we use all of these drivers together.
Because there's the option that you make a new one in the next few years, because that product is going to stay a long time with you. As we said, 6 projects, with project number 6.
Yep.
For a company that is making the 80th anniversary.
Yes.
That means it's not going to stay for 10 years, but maybe.
Maybe
more.
Be around for a while.
Yes, be around for a while.
They will be. Yes.
That's why you put it all the good ideas.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was amazing seeing those products so much in advance.
Yep.
And hopefully you'll have a good 2026 birthday year, because that's going to be amazing for you guys. And hopefully I'll see you in Vienna, so we can talk a bit more about all that. Je vous remercie tous d'avoir suivi cette vidéo, d'avoir pu faire un petit point sur les nouveaux produits Summit de chez JBL. Je vous dis, c'est une grosse année, c'est une année où on va parler de beaucoup de marques, parce que c'est l'anniversaire d'énormément de marques. Cette fois-ci, on a été quand même assez surpris par tout le travail fait par les équipes de JBL ici en Californie pour sortir des produits complètement dingues. Restez connectés, suivez-nous sur les réseaux, sur la chaîne, abonnez-vous si vous le souhaitez, et surtout, lisez le magazine, c'est important pour nous, puisque vous devriez pouvoir voir très bientôt le test dans Haute Fidélité des toutes dernières K2 qu'on a pu voir ensemble, K2 pardon, et également de l'Everest, la plus grande montagne faite par le géant américain JBL. À très bientôt, bye.